My pronouns are he, him, his. My name is Joe Eubanks, and I'm really excited to have the opportunity to run this thing back to speak at Medium Day 2025. I had the amazing opportunity of doing this last year, had a blast being in community and collaboration with so many amazing just thought leaders, writers, advocates. So I'm truly excited about the opportunity about doing this again as well. It's truly an honor. I'm very excited to be here on this Good Friday. So this year theme is just start writing. And hopefully this session kind of helpfully motivates us all to just continue to start our writing journey, continue to do some amazing writing, or just write just because for the love of the game. It's a truly a beautiful thing to just be a writer and doing this work as well. The name of my session is The Power of the Pen, Writing for Redemption. And this session is going to be a really good opportunity to explore how writing can serve as a opportunity for truth telling, redemption, and resistance as well, particularly for individuals who voices have often been silenced by systems of power. I want to share how I use writing to process harm, confront institutional betrayal, challenge systems that claim to want to support equity, but at the same time are undermining it, especially at this critical political climate we're in right now. During my experiences, I navigated a lot of obstacles, a lot of barriers, from navigating the criminal justice system, coming from a low income background, battling imposter syndrome, feeling like I was never good enough to get to this point, and later facing these barriers as an equity leader, as a thought leader as well. I hope to guide all of us together on how to turn personal adversity into a public insight. And with that hope, I hope that we inspire each other to write boldly, even when the systems hope that we stay silent, even when they don't want us to speak truth to power. And hopefully, we can offer some strategies to each other to sustain and shape narratives that speak truth and power. And then lastly, we shift the narrative from being more than just a ally to being a real accomplice as well, because we know that's very important. So I like to start by rather quickly saying that the most dangerous stories are the ones that are left untold. I want to pause for one because when you think about that silence that we feel from not telling our stories, it can feel very, very unique as well. From a plethora of things, it can feel heavy, it can feel suffocating, it can feel weaponized. I want to start here because I know what it means to live with a story that most people like to see rather be erased. I know what it feels to look like to have systems tell you just to move on, stay quiet, and they get to decide who you are and who you get to be when that power is being taken from you as well. But for many of you, you know about this silence. You know how it feels. You know it's not the best feeling as well. And maybe it shows up in different platforms and in different avenues, from your workplace, from your family, your community, where just speaking the truth could be seen as dangerous or inconvenient or even out of place as well. So when I do this work, I want to make sure that I'm writing to expose why these systems are here, why, and try to make sure that we understand what are they trying to bury. They're trying to bury that how the diversity we all share, our race, our sex, our gender, our socioeconomic status, our ability status, and power and redemption collide in a country that believes and prides itself on second chances, but rarely practices that as well. Writing became more than just words for me. It became a pen against pain. It became a counter to policies, headlines, narratives that said that I should not exist in certain spaces. And writing also became a way for me to leave a record that cannot be erased, because we know there's power when you are able to write something, it can stay there and it's documented as well. Because it's more than just what we have endured, it's also about what we can create. Writing gave me back my voice. So that's why I am so excited to be talking about the power of writing. It gave me a purpose when silence tried to steal it from me. It gave an opportunity for me to write because it doesn't just heal ourselves, it shifts the narrative for everyone can know why is this such a where is this silence coming from? Why should we stay quiet? It reminds us that power is there when you record things, when you put pen to paper as well. So today, I invite you all into that work to think about your story, think about your journey, think about some things you're carrying and what you have tucked away or been told is too much, it's too complicated, that is too dangerous. I want you to think about that, resonate in that, sit in that for a second as well. because those stories are the one that's gonna think of it's gonna, excuse me, create real amazing change for everyone and for everything as well. My story, well, it begins at the intersection of personal journey, personal harm, systemic failure, being a black man navigating these systems, addressing these very various barriers as well, and then navigating these leadership roles, trying to advance diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I understand that I came into systems that I wish I was trying to create real change, only for my work to be undermined as well. But let me be clear about something real quick, y'all. This session is not just about me. It's not about little old me, y'all. It's about the power of writing and these three things we're going to talk about more: truth telling, redemption, and resistance. It's about how we can take our stories and carry something that's especially true to ourselves. It's about how we can recognize these systems that no we don't speak about. We don't mention. We know they're there, but there's not enough conversation happening about them. But they hold weight. And when we do this, we get to shift the conversation and demand recognition as well. So when I first started, writing was really all about survival. I did not think I would make it this far. And but over time, I saw that writing also gave me opportunity to realize it was about power as well. I was able to shift the narrative away from being able to just breathe, even when I felt heavy, even when I felt that sense of harm and conflict and betrayal by people and institutions that I thought I could trust and rely on. But over time, I realized writing gave me that platform. It gave me that opportunity as well. And I did so by looking at these three things as what I just mentioned: writing for truth telling, writing for redemption, and writing for resistance. So we're gonna rather briefly get into the first one. It's kind of one of my favorites. Well, I guess all three are my favorites. We're not gonna be biased here. Writing as truth telling allows us to do some really amazing work. Say things that institutions try to hide, the barriers that people don't want to talk about, the systems that we see why so many of our community members are facing these struggles. But we know there's something happening here, but the conversation hasn't shifted. That's why we need to write and tell the truth about that as well. It's what these official reports and these polished statements tend to leave out. It's what these policies have in disguise. But right is a way of pulling the curtain back and shining the spotlight on some of those barriers that so many of our community members and ourselves are facing. It gives opportunity to resonate with the struggles of so many of us and so many of our loved ones as well. Secondly, writing as redemption. It's about owning your story, because if we let others define it, that won't do us any good. We don't want people just to see us with a label. I want people to see me as a human being, a leader, a advocate, a change agent, someone who actually wants to come out here and really make sure that everyone is not merely just surviving, but thriving. Because we know that in our society, we're only given just enough just to survive. But I want us all to thrive in our society. It's about making sure that we can reclaim our story, make sure no one can twist and pull our narrative in certain directions. That's what writing can do as well. And that is what writing for redemption is. And then writing as resistance. It's about creating a record that refuses to be erased. So again, these institutions, these systems, you're seeing it right now happening with free speech. They're finding different ways to pretty much say, nope, nope, you're not talking about that. No, you don't have a voice. You don't have a platform. But once it's on a sheet of paper, it exists and it cannot be denied. And this may happen in multiple different ways. It may happen in your workplace. It may happen in a story that you're highlighting. But once it's on that sheet of paper, it exists, and it is a record that we have spoke truth to power and highlighted the barriers we're facing. And that is so important. Writing gives us the opportunity for the world to see us in places when we don't have access to, and doors that have been shut away from us as well. That is writing for resistance. And that is why that is so impactful. Because when we do this work, it creates a moment where we get to realize that power is most clearly navigated through different various systems. Sometimes I think about my story. I didn't have the influence, I didn't have the platform, but I did have something else pretty unique. It's something I think we all have. We had a pen. We had a pen and we had some paper. Sometimes we just got to just put pen to pad and just start writing. Just start speaking truth to power. Just start expressing those ideas. Get it out your system. Just share what you're going through. Share what you see around you. Share what your community members are going through. Share what your loved ones are going through. Share some of your goofy ideas. It's okay. Put pen to pad. I truly recommend it. Let's do that. Because I learned that when you do that, words can move beyond different walls and policies that confine us, that can confine me. It can reach people in places that I never thought I could. It can speak in rooms that clearly I wasn't allowed in because that's the power of the pen. It travels where our bodies cannot. It plants seeds and doors that have been shut out. And over time, those words get to build a record that the system can no longer ignore, that the system can no longer try to minimize or silence, because that is the power of the pen. That is the power of putting pen to pad. So as I think about my story, as I do a quick reflection, I've had my trials and tribulations. And the reality is that society, in many respects, didn't want me there. I had situations where people did not see me as a real champion. They didn't see me as someone who deserved to have this opportunity to do good work or a second chance. They didn't see me as someone who wanted to be a teammate or a comrade of doing real change. I saw myself as more of a liability. People saw me as more of a risk. They saw me as someone they did not want to work with, even though I was committed to doing good work with so many of my amazing teammates. And that is why sometimes that's what the system wants. The system wants to exclude others. The system wants us going through that separation to be upset, to be mad. And I must say, for a split second, it almost had me. It almost had me for a split second. You know, they had me in the first half. They had me in the first half. I can admit that. But then I started to write some more. Again, putting pen to pad. And I started to reflect that I get to choose what spaces I get to be in. I get to claim how I get to make this journey. No one else gets to write this story for me except me. No one else gets to write your story except you. The people who are around you, motivating you, supporting you, those are the ones you're doing this work for. Those are the ones you're writing your story for. Those at that journey you're on as well. And that is so important because writing became a place for me where I could wrestle with the reality of these different barriers, these different struggles, on a sheet of paper. I wasn't reduced to a single situation or multiple barriers I had faced. I could express my frustration, the grief, the exhaustion of the treatment I had been experiencing, the harassment, the separation. It was all boiled down to just one mere chapter of my story that I just wrote down and I kept moving through because writing gave me the opportunity. It helped me process what it meant to be reduced to these different barriers, but also claim a belief in redemption. It helped me express the frustration that I had, but it also helped me identify with some real determination, move beyond these oppressive systems that they're trying to make me mold me. That is the power of the pen. It allowed me to write a story that is bigger than me, that is a label that society can never put on me and never stick to me. That is the power of the pen. And that is something that writing has changed for me as well. So as I fast forward, doing leadership work, advancing DEIB in this critical political climate we're in, I was there to help support institutions that want to build a culture of belonging because we know that belonging is just the social support you have, the connectedness you have with your fellow comrades, your fellow teammates, your community members, your coworkers. That's always important. But I also started to notice there were some limitations. They love the ideal of equity, but when equity challenges power, that's when you start to see that real push and pull. Suddenly that support disappears. Suddenly you're on an island. Suddenly you're by yourself. Suddenly it's just your idea. It's not our idea. Suddenly that team cohesion starts to evaporate. And that is why it's important to write about those experiences. Because when you do that, you get to acknowledge those limitations. You get to highlight those institutions and how they can be better. You get to use equity to challenge that power. You get to ask those hard questions about one, who benefits and who is left out. Because we see in our society right now, there's a lot of people who are benefiting, but there are more people who are being left out. And that is why it is so important that we continue to write about these experiences. We continue to share insight about these experiences because so many of our community members are being shut out of so many important parts of our American society, while only a small majority, excuse me, a small minority is being able to benefit from these policies as well. Understand that when my situation happened, I was undermined, silenced, pushed out of various roles, various opportunities, not because I lacked skill, not because my presence was a problem, not because that I had a real course of work to advance this work. It's just because my truth was mere inconvenience to some. In these moments, writing became not just personal, it became political. I wrote to name the hypocrisy. I wrote to document the harm. I wrote to ensure that no one could take that away from me. No one could look back and say that didn't happen, because that's important, because this is your story and you don't want no one trying to rewrite your story. I can guarantee you that. And here's the lesson I learned. Writing doesn't erase the harm you experience, but merely it transforms it. It turns the adversity that you experience into that public insight. It shifts the pain to power and ensures that your story is not just lived, but it is recorded. Because there's probably other community members, comrades, teammates that are facing some of those same barriers. So it's important that we continue to just start writing. Again, that's our theme this year, y'all. Just start writing. We definitely should do that, because we know that so many other people are definitely going to be understanding what we're going through. And they're probably even going to be motivated by your words as well. So I got like a three-step process about how we want to write for redemption, how we want to write to speak truth to power. And I think step one, y'all, it's not going to be perfect. That's perfectly fine. We got to give each other some grace. But I want you to start raw. That rawness is a beautiful thing. Don't edit it, don't censor it. Put the truth on the paper, put pen to pad. Even if it's a little messy, even if it hurts, put it down on that paper. I strongly recommend it, because you're writing for yourself. You're writing for your foundation. You don't want to make little minor edits. You don't want to be worried about the grammar. We're not the grammar police. You're speaking truth to paper. You're starting raw. Just put it there as well, because that is important. Because the first draft isn't for anyone but you. The rawness is a beautiful thing. When I've written through harm, the first sentence have always been a little shaky. Wasn't my best work. Was probably a lot of anger there. Sometimes was not even a clear sentence. If we got any of my grammar English buffs here, you'd be like, "Ooh, that wasn't a good sentence. That was just all over the place." But those words were my anchor. They gave me weight of feelings that I could say out loud, and sometimes I couldn't say out loud. They gave me a space to grieve, to feel rage, and just to breathe, just to take a time out, take a step back, and reflect on that I am the foundation. My writing is the foundation as well. Secondly, I think it's important when you're writing, you got to name your resistance. Name it. What is the barrier you're facing? Is it you being a woman leader navigating the glass ceiling or the glass cliff? Is it being a single parent trying to find a great place of employment? Is it the fact that are currently navigating different industries in which we have different types of innovation and AI making it harder? Those are barriers. Some of those are policy decisions as well. I want you to name those barriers, because it's probably not just happening to you, but it's important that we are empowering each other to reveal what those structures are that are around us. Once you're on this page, begin to connect your story to the broader, larger systems. I think that's where sometimes we think about a lot of the things in our public discourse that in our politics we have disagreements about. I'm like, there's so much more we're missing, because I think not enough people are writing about their experiences. Not enough people are shining real insight into what's going on. And that's important. What does it matter? What does it say? Harm, is the harm there? Is it isolated? Ask yourself, what does my experience reveal about the structures I'm living in? And how does power influence those structures? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to name that resistance. I want you to actually think about, where does this resistance come in my story? Does it begin to show in other parts of my other comrade, community members, loved ones' lives? Is it a part of a greater pattern? Is it an individual pain, or is it an opportunity for me to have a collective awareness? Because that's always impactful. You want to make sure that you're collectively aware of what's happening around you, to your loved ones, to your community members as well. Then step number three, move towards power. Once you've written for yourself and you begin to share with others, let's have a dialogue. Speak to these things. Like, let's try to take away that silence that this story that they want around the story. Let's make sure that those get to hear the story. When you write, you want to make sure you share everything that's up here. You want to make sure that you shift from just mere survival to an act of defiance, because that's very important. That's very important, excuse me. I want to say this clearly. It may not be the perfect words that you may share, but you don't need to sound like a poet, a published author, a scholar. You just need to put pen to pad and speak truth to power. because the system counts on your silence. It counts on you just throwing in the towel. It counts on you taking a deep breath and saying, you know what, I can't do this. But let me tell you, you can. I'm more than confident in you and I'm rooting for you. And even time you think about your story is a reflection of moving towards power, and you're doing it with resistance. So as we begin to wrap up this great talk, I feel like time flies when you're having a good time, y'all. I want to merely challenge us all to think about how we take up space when we're writing. Again, when you just start writing, I don't want just us to be just mere allies. And I've written about this on Medium as well about shifting from allyship to accompliceship. I think currently right now, everyone, we are in a very, very stressful political climate. I can only imagine that it's been very stressful and that we've been going through a lot. So when you think about what's happening right now, we need to just be not just allies who are going to, state the problem and rally for activism. I think that's very important. I think when you're thinking about writing for truth or power, writing for redemption, challenge yourself to be an accomplice. Challenge yourself to find a space where you could use your power, your platform, your motivation to highlight that system, work to dismantle that system, work to find other community members and have a collective, collaborative mindset of trying to address that as well. And let me tell you, writing can be that shift. When you tell your stories, again, those systems hope it stays buried. But when you're not just an ally, you become an accomplice, you're speaking that truth. And for those listening who want to support others, that's how you do the work. That's how you do that radical change. That's how you have a radical act of amplifying others and supporting others' story, citing their words, protecting their space as well. So, y'all, in closing, I started off by saying the most dangerous stories are ones that are left untold. For me, writing is a way to make sure that those stories are told. It's a way to resist erasure. It's a way to reclaim your humanity. It's a way to make sure that your testimony is turned from harm into a real reflection as well. It's a tool for redemption. It's not only about trying to fix the system, but it's also about giving voice to a lot of people who have been shut out of that system as well. My invitation is simple: start writing. If it's messy, if it's scared, that's totally fine. But we don't want you quiet. We want you doing this great work because every story needs to be heard. We are so close to having a collective action where we can do great work. So I want to challenge you all to write boldly, reclaim your story, and let's create spaces where we can step forward together because that's how we do great work. That's how we move this work forward as well. So I just want to wrap up with that as well. And I want to say, y'all, please keep being awesome as well. I think we got a little time left. I'm going to just briefly just jump in the chat rather quickly. Let's see here. How do I connect you? Yes, yes, I will. So I help lead the Fair and Impartial Foundation, which is a DEI consultant agency with a lot of few other amazing comrades of mine. So yeah, please feel free to connect me at the Fair and Impartial Foundation.com, and we can definitely try to figure out ways to support your writing, support your work, amplify you as well. So I'm very excited to help you support your work and definitely, especially this critical time when as well. So yeah, no, I'm very excited to connect with you. Very excited about that. I write on race and racing. Do you know any people for that theme? Yeah, I actually do. I know a few publications that do write on race and racism. And and let me tell you, my brain is going blank right now. But I will try to figure that out. I need to get that figured out. But yes, there are a few great publications and a few great scholars on Medium who do amazing writing on race and racism as well. And my brain is going blank right now. So my sincere apologies about that. How do you navigate writing truth to power in the age of Donald? I have left the country, but what if there is not an option? How do I write truthfully without being destroyed? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you. I am very concerned as well, especially given the recent news, what's happening in the media. For me personally, I would say definitely collective action is always a big one. Try to find a good community members who support your writing as well to make sure that you have that support system. So if you do find yourself feeling like you're going to be targeted for your writing, that you have a support system as well. But I think we're in such a critical time that it's very hard. It's very hard as well. And I'm with you. I'm totally with you right now. We're in an age where free speech is definitely probably it's not as easily illustrated by way of the laws of our country. I think it's more blended now, given our current administration. But no, I totally agree that it's very hard to navigate truth to power in the age of our current administration. And I think the best thing to do is to make sure that you feel amplified and supported, and that you have a good community network supporting you. And allow me to say, I'm rooting for you as well, because I am very stressed about this work and how we get to share these different stories and talk about the things we're seeing as well. It's very stressful. Okay. 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 Color line used to be a great resource. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's true. They were a good resource. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, they were a really good resource. Yeah, yeah. Does music play a part in your writing too? Yeah, I love me some good music. I'm a Southerner, so I love me some good Southern hip hop. And I've really recently have used it to keep me motivated, keep me pretty amplified. It definitely it's been a very humbling experience. Like right now, I like to say my musical taste is more going to the old school R&B right now, and so doing things like Outkast. And recently, I've really have gotten really behind the Roots. They have really gotten me motivated recently. You never know where your motivation will come from, and I can say they've been extremely helpful as well. So yeah, yeah, and please, if you all have any good um, playlists to help you with your writing, please feel free to share with me. I love good motivational music when I'm writing and trying to put pen to pad. Would love to hear it. So please feel free to drop that to me as well. I would love to share any good musical taste, any good musical options as well. But yeah, yeah, those have been a few things that helped me out as well. Mhm. All right, fantastic, fantastic. All right, I'm loving this, y'all. I'm loving this. 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 Fantastic. All right. All right. We got some community building happening. I love to see it. I love 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 it. All right. All right. Only in my own LinkedIn. I actually am, but I'm having I need to make a new one because I don't know why, y'all. I kind of locked it out and I just been too lazy to make another one. So I gotta do better in the department. That's a little procrastination on my part. I have one and I have not used it in almost probably like 10 years. But I would be making a new one as well to connect with uh, you amazing scholars and amazing thought leaders as well. But no, thank you for that. I definitely need to appreciate that reminder as well. I definitely need to do that. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right, everyone. All right. All right. No, this has been truly amazing, everyone. I'm gonna try to give you your minute back so you can, get some water, stay hydrated, get some nourishment for your body. I hope you all have an amazing Friday. Please continue to do great work. Please continue to stay awesome, and just please just know I'm rooting for you. Thank you all, and please have an amazing rest of your day and happy Medium Day 2K25. Thank you.